Can you name your price? Can you name your price? What's up, family? 6:30 Thursday. We're back here again to make it do what it do. What's happening with you? Hope you're having a good week and continue to press forward, doing what you're supposed to be doing, staying focused, staying on your grind, respecting that, and just, just doing all that you call to do. Okay. And working towards the dreams and goals you have and working towards that, whatever it is, you're working towards that. So that's what I'm praying for you. That's happening. I hope that's what you're doing and you stand focused. So, we're back here 6:30. Unfortunately, I don't have my wife with me, Dr. Deborah. Unfortunately, she's not with me today. She down there taking care of mom, and so, I would ask that you continue to keep my mother-in-law, her mom in your prayers. Lot going on out here right now, right? But we just want to keep everyone in prayer. I might also ask that you keep my dad in prayer. I know he's getting over some sickness. Also would like that you keep in prayer two really good close friends of ours that also supports us on here on Thursday nights, and that's Pop and Jane Wynn, Pop David and Jane Wynn. Unfortunately, Miss Jane lost her aunt, and then on this past Monday night, David's mom went on to be with the Lord. So tough time for that family. So I'm gonna ask that you keep them in your prayers as well. And then on top of that, today is is one of those days that we'll never forget at our church, New Deliverance. It was 4 years today that we lost our bishop, and so that's another not so happy moment, really, but just keep everyone in prayer. There's a lot going on out here. Like I say, Miss Jane, we just mentioned we're praying for you and Pop David. Tough time for y'all right now, I understand. And, all of us can relate to losing someone close to us, losing a family member. It's never easy, but, this is some of those things we have to deal with in life, right? And so just keep everyone in prayer. Like I say, unfortunately, my wife is not with me, but I'm going to have to look into that little program so that even when she's not here physically with me, we can still get on this together. And, one of these days I'm going to get down with technology, right? It's going to happen. I promise you, it's going to happen. Better than right now it's coming. It's going to happen. So, but anyway, right now I'm just going to use what God has given me to do what I'm supposed to do. And that's why I'm here another week, another 6:30 on Thursday. So we're still here making it do what it do. And we're going to continue to do that. And so, let's keep going. So, I'm excited. I ain't gonna lie. I'm always excited about Thursday nights at 6:30. This is a special time. And, I get hyped. I really do. So it's like 6:30 can't get here fast enough. Then when 6:30 get here, it's like, dang, it's 6:30. I gotta go. It's here already. It's crazy how that works, right? But anyway, look, let's get into this thing. Let's get into it. But as we always do, let's do it. Let's start it on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. All right. So, we still hanging with Solomon. We still in 1 Kings. Last week I talked about 1 Kings chapter 4, and I gave you a list of things because you are the CEO, you are the CEO, you the CFO, you all that. And you are the one that have to make the boss calls. You got to make the call. Okay. I gave you a list of things. I'm not going to go through that list again this week. You have to go check out what happened last week. You can always go to the YouTube channel. I post everything that I do right here on Thursday nights. I post it to our YouTube channel. So please feel free to go back and take a look at some of the things we've talked about in the past, but we're still going to continue to roll with Solomon. And, Mama JP, love you. Appreciate you. You and Mr. Bridges, appreciate y'all. Queen Nikki, hey, what's happening? Appreciate you. But look, Yeah, let's just keep going with this thing with Solomon because now we're in Solomon chapter 5, and I know my wife really wanted to talk about this one, so we might have to come back to chapter 5 at least a little bit next week when she's back with me. But because now here in chapter 5, now he's preparing to build the temple. He's preparing to, get build the temple to honor the Lord, right? And so, um, I was wondering what I was going to talk about in with First Kings chapter 5, but then I started reading. Magical things happen when you start reading, and when you take your time and read it. Don't just run right through it. You take your time and read it, and you'd be surprised. And here's what I heard. Okay, I got 3 points I want to make out of this today, and I'm gonna get out your way. But and I even took some notes because I want to make sure I keep myself on task because y'all know I get excited and I can't shut up because I get excited talking about this. It get hype, right? But anyway, so look, check this out. So in chapter 5, there was a king, King Hiram. He's the king of Tyre, Tyre. I might have said that the right way, but at least I spelled it the right way. Tyre. He's the king. Now he was real good, a loyal friend of David. Okay, and he heard that Solomon had become king, and so he sent some guys over there to send a message to Solomon, congratulating him on becoming the king. And so that's kind of how the story is set up. And this is again in this chapter, Solomon is still operating in his same vein of being the king and being a wise king, and he's doing things in a wise way. And he's continued to set up shop. He's put people in place, and now he's setting up shop so that they can start building the temple, putting people in place, getting the workers together, got supervisors in place. So while you're tripping, while you got a supervisor on your job, trust me, it's in the Bible. That's how things were set up. Supervisors, right? So somebody got to be in control. Somebody got to be in charge, right? So while you might not like the person that's being put in that place, sorry, they're in place for a reason. Okay. So, but anyway, that's another story for another day. But in this chapter, you could just see where he's continuing to not only set up shop and continue to, move forward in the things that he's supposed to do, but there's some nuggets out of chapter 5 I want to get to here. Let's go right here. Let's go to it. So the first point I want to get to right here is God will send who and what you need when you need it to get it done. He's going to send you exactly what you need. Exactly what you need. And so where did I get that from? So, you again, read chapter 5, 1 Kings chapter 5 for yourself. But look here. In right here, like I say, he first talked about, the fact that he's trying to build this altar, right? He's trying to build this altar. And unfortunately, David couldn't build it. Why David couldn't build it? Because David was too busy trying to fight wars, and heck, he was even busy running from his own son, Absalom. His own son he was having to run from. So not only was he dealing with wars with different nations all around him, but he was dealing with wars within his own household. So David ain't have time to build an altar. He ain't have time to build a church because he's so busy fighting, right? So, and so in this situation right here, you have it where it's time for Solomon to build it. Why? Because everything that David went through, Solomon didn't have to go through because David went through it. And so now there's peace all around. So now there's time to focus on building the altar, building the church, building the building to represent and to glorify God. That's what he was doing. That was his charge. Okay. And so instead of him trying to figure out how he got it done, God sent exactly who he needed, and he sent it through King Hiram of Tyre. Okay. And so the first point right there is that if God said it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's a done deal. And he's going to send you what you need when you need it, exactly what you need And he might just send you just enough or he'll send you more than enough. But the bottom line is it's going to get done. And he's going to give you what you need to get it done. You just got to trust and believe and know that's going to happen. Okay. That's the first point right there. Okay. Second point right here. Keep myself on task, right? I'm doing good so far. I don't have my wife with me, so I'm trying to stay focused, right? So, second point right here. Okay. And this one right here, let me say this first. Let me say this first, because I want to keep, I've said this every week just about since we pretty much been in First Kings and been talking about Solomon being wise. But it all started because David planted a seed in Solomon of him being wise. He called his own son wise. And every week I've been telling you, be mindful, be careful, think about what you say, not only over your kids, but those that you're in charge of, those that you seek over, that you are around. You know, people, you're not only just family, because there's some folk that's not in your family, but you're still in charge of them. You still have influence over them, right? Be careful what you speak. You can speak death or you can speak life. It's in the power of your tongue, right? So you got to be mindful of what you say about your kids, about your nephews and your nieces, about your cousins, about your mom and daddy, about anybody, about your church members, about your enemies. You got to be mindful of what you're saying out your mouth because it matters. And that stuff can take root and it can make a difference down the road. So what comes out of your mouth absolutely matters. And with David right here, David spoke over his son and called him wise. And so as a result of that, you know, let me get to my next point. I just had to say it. I had to drop that in because I need you to understand how powerful your words are. And those words made a big difference, and it set Solomon up for greatness. It set Solomon, those little words of him calling his son wise set him up for greatness. And so when we get to reading into chapter 5 right here, the first point I made was that God will send you what you need, when you need it, how you need it, as much as you need to get it done. Because if he said it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's a done deal. But the other point that I want to make right here, the second point right here, is that your name matters. Your name matters. And what do I mean by that? Because if you look in verse 1 right here, I'm going to read it to you. Verse 1 right here says, King Hiram of Tyre had always been a loyal friend of David. When Hiram learned that David's son Solomon was the new king of Israel, he sent ambassadors to congratulate him. Now, simply because of his relationship with David, okay, and Solomon being the son of David, Solomon reaped benefits of what had happened between David and King Hiram. So the reality is David's name was a good name when it came to Hiram. And because Solomon was connected to David, guess what? Hiram seeked and built relationship with Solomon, sent out guys to congratulate him. And next thing you know, they got relationship now. And now Hiram is going to supply David with all he needs to build the altar for God. So what he was called to do, now Hiram comes along and is able to give him everything that he needs, as much as he needs to get the job done. But it started simply because the name David meant something to King Hiram. And when he heard that Solomon was now the king, who was the son of David, it flowed right into it. So Solomon reaped the benefits from what his father did. Now, some of y'all might be saying, well, my father ain't did nothing for me. I'm not even going to go there. I'm going to leave that alone. But for some of us, we might not have been your mama or daddy, but it was somebody in your life that you were connected with that made a difference in your life, and you reaped some of the benefits from it. Some of y'all went to college simply because of what your mom and daddy did. Some of y'all have degrees simply because of what your mom and daddy did. Some of y'all had favor with some other folks simply because of the people that you was connected with. You got favor. Sometimes favor ain't fair, but sometimes it's fair simply because of the people that you connected with. Your connection with certain people have allowed you to be blessed in a way that you never expected to be. You ended up with benefits simply because of who you was connected with. So don't think your name don't matter. Don't think the connections that you have don't matter. Don't think relationship don't matter. You might not see anything happening from it right at that moment, but you just never know how God might use that relationship. You just never know how he might move on your behalf simply because of who you connected with. So yes, you better be mindful who you connected with. Be mindful. I ain't telling you go use nobody. Don't do that. That's not what I'm saying. Let me make sure I'm clear on that. I ain't telling you go use nobody, but I am telling you that relationship matters and who you find yourself connected with does matter. Your name matters because your name could be the reason why your children get something out of it later on because of your name. What are you doing to set your family up? What are you doing to make sure that your kids, David did something that I don't even know if he realized he was doing it. I'm sure he didn't even realize what was going on because he couldn't tell the future anyway. He didn't know what was going on, but simply because of how he dealt with people and what he said over his son, Solomon was set up for success. So please understand that you matter. Your name matters. What you say out of your mouth matters. Let's go to point number 3, and this going to be my final point, and I'm going to get out your way. But this one right here, I say the best for last. When I first came on here, I asked you, can you name your price? Can you name your price? And so here's what I wrote down here. Your skill set. What are you doing with it? What are you doing with your skill set? Can people trust you? Can they really trust you? Can they really trust that you know what you're doing? See, and this is what I got out of here. This is what I got out of this, okay? I'm going to read the scripture to you. I'm going to read verse 6 so you can see where I'm getting this from. All right, y'all hold on a second. Let me put these glasses on. Yeah, I got to put on readers now. But let me see this right here. All right. Oh, it's different because this wording is a little smaller. But anyway, therefore, please command that cedars from Lebanon be cut for me. Let my men, now understand this. This is David. I mean, this is a message that that Solomon sent back to Hiram. He says, therefore, please command that cedars from Lebanon be cut for me. Let my men work alongside yours, and I will pay your men whatever wages you ask. Can you name your price? But let's read on. As you know, there is no one among us who can cut timber like you Sidonians. So I asked the question again. God has blessed you with skills. He has blessed you with talents. What are you doing to make sure you're getting the most out of it? Can people really trust you? Because right here, Solomon knew all about King Hiram and his guys, his Sidonian partners. He knew all about them because he said, nobody can cut timber like y'all can. So name your price. Whatever you say you want, I'm going to pay it because what you offer, what you give, what you're able to do, I want it. I need it. I got to have it. And it's the best thing out here. Why? Because y'all have worked on your skills and your skill level is the best out there. They'll trust and believe. Them Sidonians it ain't just wake up and it happen. There had to be some blood, sweat, and tears. There had to be some hard work and dedication to fine tuning the process. fine tuning their skills. So my question to you is, what are you doing with your skill set? What are you doing to fine tune the talents that God has given you? What are you doing to fine tune the skills that you have? That's why some of y'all go to the same barber like me. Shout out to my man at P Barbershop, Eugene P. Shout out to him. I always shout him out. That's my guy because we have some special times on Thursday mornings up in there talking. We have a barbershop talk, but it's all geared around us being better. But anyway, I just love it. But just think about it. Think about the people that you constantly go to. Why? Because you trust them. You believe that their skill set is exactly what you need and what you want so that you can have what it is you need and what you want. We marvel at the people we see on TV, people that can sing. But what you don't see is what's happening behind. We see pro athletes and we marvel at the things that they can do, that where they can shoot it or they can catch it or they can throw the ball. Or they got all skills. Y'all know me and my bowling. We marvel at the pros and how good they are. I got people that still come to me, thank God, and I appreciate y'all. And if you still need some help with your bowling equipment, you can come see me. I do that as well. But understand, what I'm getting at is that when you are working on your craft and you become good, great, awesome at your craft, you can get to a point where you can actually name your price. Why? Because they want what you have. And that's what happened right here. And let me just give you a little context about what he ended up getting. You might read this and say, oh, well, that ain't a whole lot. But let me put it in context a little bit right here. So, dang, I got to put these readers back on. Hold on. So, in verse 10, he simply said, verse 11, in return, Solomon sent him an annual payment of 100,000 bushels of wheat for his household and 110 gallons of pure olive oil. He said, okay, wheat, olive oil. Now, I don't know how it was back in the day when it came to eating and all of that, but I'm sure evidently he was more than happy to take that because that had some serious value. It has some serious value. And so I went and did a little bit of math to try to quantify how much that was. And if you use the price of olive oil today and use the price of wheat today, the olive oil, a gallon. Now this is per gallon. You might be able to find it for about $40, $45 a gallon nowadays. Now you multiply that by 110,000. That's $4.95 million right there. Now who on here want 4.95 mil? If you give me 4.95 million olive oil, I promise you, I'm going to flip that. I'm going to be like them guys with the talents. I ain't going to be like the one that had the one talent, but the one that had 5 talents and the one that had 10 talents, that's who I'm going to be. I'm going to take them talents and we're going to flip them joints because that 4.95 million, by the time I'm done with it, it's going to be double that, if not more. And the same thing with the wheat. You look at the price of wheat nowadays, I think it was anywhere from like $5. I think I even saw a price that was like $8. But we could just say, we're just going to use $7. So 100,000 bushels, $7 a bushel. That's $700,000. Now you add $700,000 plus the 4.95 million. How much money you get? That's 5.65. Now, who wants $5.65 million off of 2 items? And then you take the wisdom and you take that and flip it. I love this. I absolutely love this. That's the reason why you can't be scared of this word right here. This word can help us grow. This word can help us get to another level in our life. And he's given us the blueprint on how we need to go through this thing called life so that we can be even better than we already are. He's given us the blueprint right here. If we just take the time and read and understand it and apply it, it's right here for us. And it's absolutely awesome. Trust me. This Bible is nothing to be scared of. Yes, there's some things up in here that's going to bust you upside the head. It's going to call you out. And it's going to force you to have to make a change. But it's making a change for the better. is making a change that's going to make you better than you already are. It's going to give you peace like you never had before. It's going to give you joy like you never had before. It's going to help you get through those rough moments and those rough times, because you're still going to have to deal with them, because that's part of life. But I promise you, this right here, you decide to read this and get into it and learn and understand the basic principles that's in here, and you apply them to your life. I pinky promise you, you think you had a good life now? You ain't seen good until you get into this right here. I'm telling you. And we are right here hanging with Solomon, learning about how to set up shop, how to be a CEO, how to make boss calls, how to negotiate, how to have peace, how to use wisdom to help us grow and those around us. Your name matters. Your skill set matters, which means it's time for you to go make it do what it do. So as I always tell you, pray, plan, prepare, proceed. Go make it do what it do. What you waiting on? Love you. See you next week.